Welcome to a journey through time. This is not a tale of glorious battles, not of emperors or generals, but of a single ordinary day in the life of a Roman soldier. Far from home, deep in the forests of Germania in the year 100 CE, through mist, cold winds, and the steady rhythm of boots, he wakes, marches, stands watch, and carries memories too heavy for words. Each chapter is a breath, a moment in silence, a fragment of a life that history often overlooks. So breathe slowly, close your eyes, and let the fire guide you back to a forgotten world where war does not shout but whispers through the stillness. Welcome, traveler. Close your eyes and drift back, far across the centuries, to a time when the Roman Empire stretched from the sands of Africa to the dark, misty forests of Germania. Tonight, we walk beside Lucius Valerius, a legionary stationed at the edge of the known world. This is not a story of war and glory, but of silence, of loneliness, and of cold breath rising in the gray morning light. Awakening in the barracks. The sky is still dark. A layer of frost coats the wooden beams overhead. Lucius lies on a straw mattress, wrapped in his woolen cloak. The cold has crept in again through the stone walls. Beside him, 20 men stir. The barracks smell of sweat, leather, oil, and ash. No one speaks. Only the soft sound of breathing, the shuffle of feet on cold ground, the quiet curses of men rising to another gray day. He folds his cloak carefully, always with care. It's the only warmth he owns. Then he reaches for his caligae, those heavy sandals that bite into his heels. Leather straps wrap up his legs, binding him to the day ahead. The morning routine. Outside, the sky is a pale iron. Smoke rises from the cook fire, and Lucius queues up with the others for the morning rations: a piece of coarse bread, a cup of diluted wine, and a handful of dried figs. He doesn't speak much. Most men don't. The morning silence is almost holy, a ritual before orders begin. Some men mutter prayers to Mars, others to Jupiter. Lucius says nothing. He just looks east toward the sun that still hides beyond the trees, beyond the Rhine. Inspection in armor. A horn sounds. The centurion's voice cuts the air like a whip. Armor on, tunic tightened, shield gripped, sword checked. Lucius moves quickly, not with fear, but precision. This is the only rhythm he knows. He adjusts his lorica segmentata, the segmented armor that creaks when he breathes. Straps across the chest, buckles beneath the ribs. The weight is reassuring, as if each piece of iron is a memory of training, of survival, of discipline. A moment before march. Before the march begins, Lucius has a moment of stillness. He sharpens his sword slowly, feeling its worn edge. The same gladius he's carried since Pannonia. He looks up at the trees beyond the palisade. So different from home. In Rome, the trees bear olives. Here, they are tall, black, and silent. Whispers ride the wind between them. Or maybe it's just the snow falling from branches. No birds sing in Germania, only crows. He grips the hilt a little tighter. The road ahead is long. End of part 1. Next time, part 2, the march into the forest. Steps forward, his breath curling in the cold air like smoke. The wooden palisade behind him disappears as the legion forms a column, tight and rhythmic. Boots on frost-bitten soil, shields on shoulders, spears upright, a moving wall of flesh and iron. The centurion gives no speech. There is no need. Every man knows his role. Every man has marched this road before. Yet every day, the trees look a little darker, into the mist. The path is narrow, a corridor carved between trees older than any living soul. Mist rises from the ground. It weaves around ankles, climbs up calves, clings to the knees like ghost fingers. Some say the spirits of the forest drift in that mist. Lucius does not believe in spirits, but he keeps his eyes forward, always forward. The trees press in like silent watchers, no voices, no laughter, only breath, and the slow creak of armor. The rhythm of the march. The legion breathes as one. Left, right, left, right. The sound of boots against the cold dirt is hypnotic. Lucius counts his steps without realizing. 100, 200. It grounds him, keeps his thoughts from drifting back to memories of Rome, of vineyards, of sunlight, of his brother's voice. But the forest does not allow many memories. It demands full attention. Even the birds are quiet. Only crows cry far above. Silent encounters. A fallen tree lies across the path. The column halts. Lucius and 2 others step forward to clear it. They work quickly, cautiously, eyes scanning every shadow. Once, patrol was ambushed just like this, arrows from nowhere, screams swallowed by trees. But today, there is only wind, and snow falling like ash. Lucius grips the log, lifts, tosses, returns to formation. The column marches on. A stranger's memory. As the trees thicken, Lucius spots a mark on a nearby trunk. A carving, a spiral, not Roman, Germanic. His hand brushes the bark as he passes. It's old, worn by time, but someone made it, long ago. Perhaps a prayer or a warning. He wonders, what stories did the man who carved it carry? Did he fear the forest too? Lucius looks forward again. The column does not stop. The forest opens. Suddenly, the trees part. They arrive at a clearing, wide, still, eerie. The centurion raises a hand. They pause. The men drink water, adjust straps, catch their breath. Lucius leans against a boulder, his back aching. He looks up. For the first time today, sunlight pierces the mist, just a thin blade of gold falling across his hand. And for a moment, he is warm. Soft forest wind, distant raven calls, crackling fire in the far background. The road turns. The column breaks into smaller patrol units. Lucius and 8 men veer left, their destination, a shadowed village once loyal, now silent. The road narrows. Bushes scratch against greaves. The sunlight disappears again, swallowed by pine and silence. Lucius tightens his grip on the spear, not from fear, but readiness. That's what the forest demands. The first sign. The village is not far. They see the first sign of life, a chicken darting across the road. But there is no voice, no barking dog, no laughter of children, only that one bird, now vanished into the trees. Then a hut comes into view. Its thatched roof is sinking. A single wooden door swings open in the wind. No one comes out. Entering the village. The patrol enters with caution, shields up, eyes alert. 5 houses, a well in the center, a broken cart. A line of drying herbs still flutters, untouched. Lucius steps forward. His boots crack twigs that have lain too long. He listens. There's breathing, but it's not from the soldier. The eyes in the dark. From inside the largest hut, movement. A shape. Small, thin. A boy. He stares at them, wide-eyed, silent. Behind him, shadows, possibly others. Lucius lowers his spear slightly. He remembers his little cousin in Campania. The same gaze when thunderstruck. No one speaks. Even the centurion remains quiet. Then the boy vanishes into the dark again. The offering. Beside the well, a crude basket. Lucius approaches. Inside, salted meat, some bread, and a sprig of rosemary. An offering. Or a message. We give what we can. Please leave. The villagers are hiding. Not hostile, but terrified. Lucius nods to his captain. They take nothing. Leave no mark. Only a coin. Placed gently on the wellstone. Leaving in silence, they withdraw. No words, no orders. As they turn back into the trees, Lucius glances once more. The door of the hut is slightly open now. The boy watches them leave. His eyes say everything. Fear, resentment, and something deeper. A memory forming that may last his entire life. Lucius does not wave. He simply walks back into the forest. Background ambience, soft river stream, faint fire crackling, distant birds returning to the trees. Dusk descends. The sun sinks low. A pale gold sky fades into silver. Lucius and his patrol arrive at a bend in the river. Clear, cold water flowing through stones shaped by centuries. They do not speak. No one orders rest. It is simply understood. They drop their gear, shields leaned against trees, swords placed carefully on the ground. The fire is lit. The circle. The fire is small. It does not roar. It whispers. They sit around it. Not close, just near enough for warmth. Their faces glow softly in the light. Shadows move on their cheeks like flickers of memory. Lucius pulls his cloak tighter. His fingers, numb from the march, now feel the pulse of heat again. He exhales slowly. The tension leaves him, little by little. Food in silence. Rations are shared. Hard bread dipped in water, bits of meat warmed over the flame. No one complains. One man mumbles a joke, another chuckles. Then, silence again. It is a sacred kind of quiet. Not empty, but full of unspoken things. Lucius chews slowly. He thinks of his mother's kitchen, of olives, of warm bread with honey. He does not tell the others. Memories are private here. Looking at the fire, Lucius stares into the flame. It dances gently. Each twist of smoke tells a different story. He sees a face in it, not clearly, not fully, but a suggestion of someone once held close, someone left behind, a hand once held, a promise once whispered, a name no longer spoken aloud. The fire knows. It sees all, but says nothing. The old soldier speaks. Then an older man, Gaius, speaks. His voice is rough, but soft. He tells of a battle on the Danube, of a comrade who died singing, of a horse that returned alone. No one interrupts. Lucius listens. He doesn't remember the song, but he remembers the way Gaius's voice broke when he spoke of the quiet afterward. That kind of silence is not like this one. Night comes. The fire fades, one man snores, another sharpens his blade, slow, methodical. The river keeps flowing. Lucius lies back, staring at the stars. No constellations he knows. The sky here is unfamiliar, but still, it is sky. He closes his eyes. The warmth on his face, the scent of smoke on his cloak, the sound of the river, and for a moment, just a moment, he forgets where he is. Background ambience, soft wind through pine, distant owl, faint fire ember crackle. Awakened. The fire is low. Lucius opens his eyes. It's his turn. The midnight watch, the worst hour. Too late for true rest. Too early for dawn. He rises slowly, the cold biting through his cloak. The others sleep, faces turned away from the wind. He doesn't wake them, doesn't speak. He picks up his sword, straps on his belt, and walks silently into the dark. Alone with the trees, he stands on the edge of the camp, facing the woods. The trees rise like statues, black trunks, unmoving, no rustle, no birds, just silence and breath. Lucius tightens his grip on the hilt, not out of fear of ambush, but of imagination. In the dark, even a branch looks like a man. Even the wind feels like footsteps. Thinking of home, time drips like candle wax. Lucius looks up. The stars are clearer now. Cold, silver pinpricks in an endless sky. He wonders if his brother sees the same stars, back in Capua, or if he's asleep in his vineyard dreaming of harvest. He thinks of his father, a potter, hands always gray with clay. Lucius once wanted to be like him, but the army came first, always the army. The weight of silence. The longer he stands, the heavier the quiet becomes. It presses on his shoulders, his chest, his thoughts. No sounds, no movement, just the gentle hiss of wind between branches. He starts to count, one breath, then another. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it makes things worse. A voice in the mind. Out here, thoughts speak louder than words. Lucius remembers a dream he once had. He was in the Forum of Rome, but no one could see him. He shouted, but no sound came out. He felt forgotten. And now, standing here, that dream feels real again. He is a soldier. You a shadow. A name etched on a list, still alive. The relief comes. A shape appears. Gaius, the older soldier, cloaked in fog. He nods. No words, just understanding. Lucius gives a soft sigh, not of exhaustion, but of release. He walks back to camp, steps light, sword quiet. He lies down, pulls the cloak over his head, and the world vanishes. For a while. Background ambience, low fire crackle, early morning wind, distant raven call. Dawn again. The fire is ash now. Lucius awakens to a pale, indifferent sky. Another day. Another breath. His bones ache, not from marching, but from memory. He sits up slowly, rubbing frost from his lashes. The others stir, some coughing, others silent. Another morning in Germania. A small satchel. From his satchel, Lucius removes a cloth-wrapped bundle. Inside, a folded piece of parchment. Old, worn, edges frayed. A letter, not new, not even recent, but the only one he ever received. Reading in silence. He reads it again, for the 100th time. Lucius, my son, the figs ripened early this year. Your brother says the vineyard may stretch another field come spring. The words blur, not because of tears, but because he knows them by heart, line by line, word by word. There is nothing new left in the ink. But still, he reads, because it's the only voice from home he has. Waiting for the next one. He looks to the east. The messenger riders come once a week. If the roads are dry, if the snow hasn't fallen, if the rebels haven't cut them down, he always waits, always. But the next letter never came. What might have been? What would it say if it arrived? Your father is proud. Your mother prays for your safety. We'll have your favorite stew when you return. Or maybe she asked about you again, the girl from the market. Your little cousin drew you with a sword. We miss you. Lucius imagines these words. He writes them in his mind, fills the silence with them. It helps. A little, folding it back. He folds the letter, wraps it carefully in the cloth, places it gently back in his satchel. Then he stands, straps on his sword, and joins the others. Today they march again. He does not know where, but it does not matter. The letter never came, and yet he carries it still. Background ambience, slow-flowing river, distant raven caws, occasional wind through pine trees. An uneasy start. The morning begins as usual. Boots, cloaks, shields, a cold wind pressing against chapped lips and tired eyes. Lucius walks behind the formation. His body aches, his mind, dull from sleep that was too short, too shallow. And then, a horn, short, sharp, the kind that halts a march. A man down. They gather around a body. It's Flavius, a quiet man from Gaul, hard-working, young, no known enemies, no known ailments. He simply didn't wake up. Face pale, breathless, gone. No blood, no struggle, just stillness. The decision. There is no priest, no marble tomb, no trumpet farewell, only 8 men and the wind. The centurion speaks softly. We give him to the earth or the river. As Rome gave us birth, so nature receives us back. The river is near, still, wide, ancient. They begin to gather wood, building the raft. Lucius works in silence, chopping branches, lashing rope. Every knot he ties is both ritual and release. Not religious, but human. The raft is small, just enough to carry a man and his memory. They place Flavius upon it, his hands folded, sword across his chest, eyes closed as if he still dreams of vineyards. The farewell. They light a small torch. The flame trembles in the wind. Then they set the raft adrift. It floats gently, spinning slightly in the current, not sinking, not rushing, just drifting. Lucius watches it go. The fire flickers orange against the gray of sky and water. No one speaks. Only the river answers, with its soft, eternal song. After, the soldiers turn back, boots crunching on cold stone. One less pair of steps. Lucius lingers a moment longer. He lowers his head. Go quietly, friend, he whispers. Let the river carry you farther than this war ever did. Then he turns and walks. The march continues, as it always must. Ambient sounds, deep forest wind, faint creaking of tree branches, the occasional call of a raven, a fire burning far in the background. A detour. The forest grows denser, the road thinner. Their centurion lifts a hand, halting the unit. He turns to a nearby scout and speaks quietly. Old woman ahead, alone, living where no one should. Lucius hears the others murmur. The locals call her Die Alta and Baum, the old one by the tree. They say she speaks truths in riddles, sees death before it arrives, or perhaps she's just a woman with no one left to bury her. Her hut. They approach. A crooked hut rests beneath the roots of an enormous tree, an oak so wide it would take 5 men to encircle. The roof is moss, the walls bone-colored, no door, just a curtain of dried leaves hanging like a veil. Smoke trails upward from a clay chimney. The place breathes. Her voice. She steps out, thin, bent, like the branches above her. Her hair is the color of ash, eyes milky but alert, as if she sees more than what is present. No greeting, no fear. She walks straight to Lucius, looks up at him. "You're the one who waits for a letter," she says. "It won't come." Lucius freezes. No one else moves, not even the wind. She turns and beckons him inside. The fire and the smoke he follows. Alone, the inside smells of dried herbs, old parchment, and something older. In the center, a small fire. Smoke curls up and coils like living memory. She sits by it. Her hands stir the flames with a stick made from antler. "You dream of home," she says, "but dream deeper. Rome does not wait for you." And yet, she stops, looks at him. Something else does. Questions unspoken. Lucius wants to ask, "What? Who? When?" But the words don't leave his mouth. She reaches into a bowl, pulls out a fist of dark leaves, throws them into the flame. The fire hisses. Blue smoke fills the room, thick, sweet, dreamlike. Lucius's eyes blur. The room fades. For a moment, he sees vineyards, his father, his own hands old and calloused holding a child. Then, nothing. The return. The smoke clears. She is gone. Only the fire remains. And a bundle of dried rosemary tied with red twine. Lucius picks it up. He steps outside. The soldiers wait, their faces unreadable. No one asks what happened. He does not speak. They march again. But something in him has changed, and though the road ahead is still dark, he no longer feels completely alone. Soft parchment rustling, occasional crows far away. Gentle breath, a sky of smoke. Dawn comes with a sky like ash. Lucius stands beside the morning fire, watching the smoke rise without direction. The forest seems farther away today, as if it retreated during the night. He's tired, not from marching, but from dreaming. Dreams of warm wine, of voices that no longer exist, of letters that never came. The unexpected arrival. A horn sounds. Not the usual call to arms, but the sharp, brief tone of arrival. A rider approaches, dusty, silent, pale. He carries a pouch, one of many. Lucius watches as names are called out, scrolls handed to eager hands, letters clutched like lifelines. Then, his name. Lucius Valerius. It falls into the morning air like a ghost finally remembering your face. The parchment. The letter is smaller than he expected, worn, edges curled, sealed with a thumbprint in wax, not official. He does not open it right away. Instead, he walks to the edge of the camp, past the trees near the river, alone. Then he breaks the seal. The voice from the past. The handwriting is clumsy, familiar. "If this reaches you, I'm likely gone. I meant to write sooner. I meant a lot of things." The words belong to Flavius, the young man who died silently just days ago, the one they gave to the river. "I didn't tell anyone. The cough got worse. The blood, too. Didn't want to worry the others." Lucius's hands tremble. "But I had one thing I needed to say. Thank you. For the night you gave me half your blanket, for the wine you didn't mention missing, for the silence you shared. I've never had a brother, but now I know what it might have felt like." Stillness. Lucius reads it again and again. Each word lingers, like footsteps in snow. His throat is dry, but not from the cold. He stares at the ink until it becomes part of the paper, part of him. Then he folds it, carefully, like something sacred, and presses it to his chest. The fire accepts that night. He builds a small fire by the river, alone. He opens the letter once more, reads it aloud, not for himself, but for the water, and for whatever might still be listening. Then he lets it go. The parchment curls as it burns, lifting into ash, joining the smoke, rising toward the stars. Lucius sits in silence, and for the first time in many weeks, he sleeps. Ambient sounds, soft footsteps in wet soil, breeze through forest branches, low drumbeat fading in the distance. Orders. The horn sounds just after dawn. "Pack your gear. We move." The words come like cold water. Not cruel, not kind, just inevitable. Lucius buckles his belt, shoulders his pack, wraps his cloak tight. The camp they built, the fires, the tents, the trees that knew their names, will be left behind, just like everything else. The path ahead. They march again, boots in rhythm, armor creaking, shields glinting in patches of pale sunlight. The road ahead stretches long and silent. It winds through pines, curves around forgotten stones, disappears into valleys unnamed. Lucius walks, but he no longer feels lost. Not in the way he once did. A moment at the fork. They come to a split in the path. One leads north, deeper into the borderlands. The other curves east, toward the old merchant roads. The centurion lifts his arm. The column takes the left. But Lucius stops. Just for a moment. No one notices. No one calls his name. He stands between two roads, heart steady, eyes calm. Then he turns. Not north, not east, but toward the river. The walk alone. He walks slowly, each step deliberate, no longer a soldier, not yet a man free. The trees no longer threaten, the mist no longer hides ghosts. Everything is still. He finds the clearing where the raft was set afloat, the ashes long gone, but the memory remains, not in the place but in him. The cloak and the sword. He unbuckles his armor, removes his sword, lays it gently on the stone beside the river. Then the cloak, weather-worn, threadbare. He folds it neatly as he always has, and places it beside the blade. A part of him remains there, in steel, in wool, in silence. The rest keeps walking. Into the trees. Lucius steps into the woods, not as a ghost, not as a deserter, not even as a hero, but simply as a man. The wind moves through the branches like a lullaby. Birds stir again. Somewhere nearby, a stream sings softly. He breathes in, deep, steady. No orders, no horns, no war, only the path ahead. And for the first time in years, he does not know where it leads. And that is beautiful. And so ends the day in the life of a Roman soldier. And so it ends. Another day at the farthest edge of the Roman Empire. No trumpet sounded, no victory declared. Only quiet footsteps and a heart that still beats. Lucius, an unnamed soldier, did not choose to be a hero. He chose to keep walking and then to stop. Thank you for listening to this story. If you're still awake, may you find deep rest, and if you've already drifted to sleep, then may you dream of what was once lost.